Okay, time to feed the cows. It's time to feed the cows. Hey ho, the dearie-o, it's time to feed the cows. Pop, pop. Are you ready, cows? Ugh. Boy, there's a lot of manure there. Maybe I should clean it up. I know at some point I'm going to be asked to clean up that stuff with a shovel. But until then, I don't have to. I think soon, when the grass starts growing, this process stops and they feed themselves. The creek unfreezes. I said unmelts the other day, unfreezes, and they don't have to be watered. So very soon, I won't have anything to do, which probably means they'll come up with new chores for me. I doubt it means I don't have to do anything. That would be nice. I'm pretty good at doing nothing. Not everyone can do nothing. I do it quite well. I just saw something gross, so of course I'm going to share it with you. This is a baby cow. And it really looks like it's got shit all over it. Now, I don't think it's small enough to have another cow shit on it. Which means it must have gone to sleep in a pile of shit. Makes me feel less guilty about throwing occasionally a bale of hay on them. Or a flake. That's not a good camera angle. Ooh, right in the face. Right in the face. Ironic that happened just as I said it. There's manure everywhere here. I really have to stop feeding them on this side. I've got to make them go to the other side for food. Oh, you can't see me still. Which means you'll miss the Jenga fail. Now here's a question. Is a Jenga fail when it works and you don't get to see a bale of hay fall on me? Or when it fails and you get to see a bale of hay on me? Which is a fail? That was a nice throw, right where they want it. I like hitting them in the blank space, right in front of a cow. I have noticed that these cows, over the several months that I've been doing this, have gotten to understand the concept better. But they still vary. They're still different every day. But they used one bale of hay, and they used to all go, and then there was a lot of, especially from 4B and 22. It's my hay. But since they've been eating 6 bales a day, they're not as hungry, and they're not as in a rush. But they've also figured out that I throw the hay here, then here, then here, then here. So they stand there and they wait. Is this 22? Yeah. So 22 standing here, not eating, There's a blank space in front of her. She knows the next bale is going to go in front of her. Except I'm talking to you and she's going, mm-hmm. I might go back to 4 bales soon. Oh, you have a cold 22? That was a bit of a wheezing sound there. I don't know if you could hear it, probably not. The cameras today are kind of designed to filter out those noises. Round hay. I just poked my eye out. Not really out. No. I don't really understand why I don't bring the camera stand with me, instead of just complaining that I don't bring the camera stand with me. I looked at it this morning. I thought to myself, I should bring that. Still not right. But I didn't. Now the horse is waiting. I don't know if I can get it to you there, horse. So I've ordered a bendy camera stick that will allow it to sit here in front of me while I work. I had one before, but it was too short. So I'm trying a new one from Temu or Temu. I forget. Somebody told me they'd changed their name pronunciation. Anyhow, we'll see if that helps, because if it sat here, I could put on that mode with the 2 cameras and show you my throws and talk to you about the throws of farm. That's not the right word, is it? Oh, boy, they've all got shit on them. Where did they sleep last night? It's just the babies. I can't believe the babies don't know they're sleeping in shit. I mean, you have to know, right? You might not think it's gross because you're an animal and you don't put those thoughts to it, but still, it is gross. It's got a smell. They don't like eating their shit, so why do they are okay with sleeping in it? Maybe it's my fault because I haven't cleaned the shit. And man, there's a lot of it now. Thawing season still cold today. The ground is crispy. Come on, yeah. I'm going to show you some of this stuff. And don't judge me because it might be too gross to show you. Holy cow, it's actually a lot worse than I thought. You see, the last couple of days, it's been covered in snow, so I didn't notice it as much. But whew, it's bad. Okay, let's try something new. And by new, I mean things that I've tried and failed at before. I just realized I have no idea where I left my knife. I hope it's not gone. This might be a good camera angle. I just have to yell. Found my knife. This side has a lot less turds. They don't like when I feed them on both sides. Because they don't notice. This is one of the ones that fell down. Oh, you hear that plopping? Probably not. You can hardly hear me, I'm sure. Because I didn't bring that mic. Keep talking about it. Fence on this side is one wood rung longer. I'm taller. Did I mention I didn't feel like waking up this morning? Nice to sleep in. I've been having some amazing dreams. I love my dreams. Oh, it's not the cows plopping, it's me dropping. Yeah. Huh. Blue string? No. Don't think. No blue string. That's the sound of that bag. Ground hay. It's a really neat sound. Sounds a lot like cow plop. Plop, plop, fizz, fizz. If I sing the rest of that, I might have to demonetize my YouTube video. Plop, plop. No, I don't. Moo! What's up, cows? Oh, that one cow does not sound good. Putting a knife away. The dogs are out barking at the perimeter of the farmyard like coyote protection. Which is good, because we figure they got the rooster. Sadly, they got the nice rooster. Or the nice rooster just decided to run away because the crappy, mean rooster bullying. I'm realizing this fell on one of my shit piles. There you go, cow. You discovered it. Blue string. Okay. This is number 3, right? Uh-oh. Yeah, this is number 3. Okay, that's it. We're done. Yeah, it's over here. They figured it out. Oh. It'll be nice when it warms up a bit. Hey, mouth. Hey, mouth. And here they all come. Except the horse. Ugh. It's so gross. If they were smart, they'd roll around in what's left of the snow. It's interesting to note that there's almost no snow left on the main area, but there's a lot of snow left on that side. I'm not quite sure why. It can't be, well, I guess it's just the road less traveled. They don't hang out on that side. I didn't put a lot of hay on that side, so I guess, could it be colder? Well, that field behind me is about 50% melted. But another nice day, and a lot of it will be gone. But I've learned that another nice day in the winter, spring, doesn't always mean tomorrow there won't be another snowstorm. Oops. When I lived in Ontario, we'd have maybe 2 snowstorms a year towards the later years. And everyone would take their snow tires off in March, and then there'd often be one more snow. Here, they warned me of this winter, but it's been a weird winter even for Kamloops, British Columbia. It was a drought summer, and the winter ended 3 times so far. Beautiful, mild days, and then the next day, snow. Today, the ground is still very solid, not mushy. The water is frozen, so tomorrow it could snow, but I hope not. The afternoon will probably be quite nice. Still haven't mastered this trick with one hand. That was better than some days. I really should consider a selfie stick or something. So the creek is frozen, I guess, since most of the puddles still are. Which means all the water buckets are empty. It'll be nice to not have to do this anymore. You know, it's a stereotypical image of farmers keeping a piece of straw in their mouth while they talk and walk. And I always thought, it's kind of weird. I don't know why that is. Never had the need to walk around with a piece of straw in my mouth. But by sheer coincidence, I have a lot of hay in my mouth most of the time. And I suppose if you're chewing a piece of straw, it's less obvious when you have to go. So maybe it's necessity, the mother of invention. Yeah, that's, I don't know. Necessity based. Very gray sky today. No fog. It's actually a lot nicer when there is fog. And you get this beautiful haze. Today it's gray. I've never really been a fan of gray weather. I loves me some blue sky. We had a few really nice blue sky days. I shared some of them with you. I don't seem to feel the need to pee today. Oh, I guess I did before I left. Now, yeah, I closed the gate. Here's a Jeff tip. Don't know why I did that, except that in editing I'll be able to spot it. Now I've done it too many times. Anyhow, I've forgotten the tip. What was I going to say? Oh, an ADHD tip. Why not? Everyone else is making them. When there's something that you have to do every day, like take your pills or make sure you close the farm gate, and you've been known to forget occasionally, and in both those cases it can be quite a serious effect. You forget to take your medication, you have a crappy day, you let the cows into the hay barn. That can be a bad thing too. So I developed this ADHD trick, which works for me, and that is to make a story out of the task. So in this case, when I'm closing the gate, I talk about closing the gate. When I'm putting my knife away, I say, putting my knife away. And our brains remember stories much better than we remember actions. Now, this is part of a huge philosophy, which I'll get into in other videos. But it's true that your brain tends to remember the stories. If you think back to your childhood, most of what you can remember, which will be different depending on how old you are, I suppose, but most of what you remember isn't doing things. It's the stories that people told of you doing things. I have a kind of a weird memory condition, and I don't really remember any of my childhood. But occasionally, if someone else brings it up, I remember the stories my parents told of those things, or that I've told of those things. And the more I tell the story, the more it is remembered. I think that our brains store stories in a different part of the brain than they store actions. And this got a lot deeper than just remembering to take your pills, but I have a philosophy that if something bad happens, turn it into what happened? Oops. If something bad happens to you, or if something good happens to you, turn it into a story as soon as you can. Because you're going to remember the story. And if you don't turn it into a story, your brain will. And it'll choose a bad story. Because something bad happened. But in a lot of cases, you can tell your story your way. That's one of the powers of human beings. We get to tell our own stories. And if you tell that story in a positive way, that's how you remember it. And that's why humans live in couples or groups or communities more than alone, because you get to turn your life into stories. If I ever had kids, which I knew I never would, I would have taught them when they come home from school, don't tell me what happened. Tell me a story about what happened. You might remember it better. Helps with PTSD, I suspect. Helps with grief. You tell the stories. The greatest superpower of humans is the fact that we get to tell our own stories. And here's a secret. The truth doesn't really matter. I talk about stories a lot in my blog, and we tend to remember, from the other perspective, the best storytellers. All of my parents' friends that I remember were storytellers. In the 50s and 60s and 70s, people would tell stories at parties. And they would even take requests to tell the same stories again, if they were told well. Now, my mother and my family were a theater family, so they were pretty good at telling stories. But I'm 60 now, and I remember a lot of those stories and a lot of the actions of them telling them. Got to watch out for the rooster over there. So, turn the things that you need to do into stories. One of the ways, I used to take my pill, 1 pill a day I have to take, but if I miss it, it screws my mind a bit. When I would take the pill, I would go, and then an hour later, if I thought to myself, did I take my pill today or did I forget? Oh yeah, I took it, I remember. I've taught that to a lot of people, and many of them have thanked me. For the sake of this story, I'll say all of them did. See? Truth doesn't matter.